So I'll just go ahead and call a roll.
Yes.
Andy Allen?
Here.
Larry Chesney? Bruce is not here. Stan Hedrick? Rob is not here. Okay.
All right, the September 6th meeting of the Blount County Board of Zoning Appeals be called to order. We've called roll and been answered. We'll start off with the approval of last month's meeting minutes.
Second.
Approved and second.
All in favor?
All right, looks like we have one special exception on the docket for the request at 202 South Old Glory Road for an automobile sales lot. Roger, if you want to tell us about that.
This is it's the side of a chiropractor's office currently, and the proposed use, and there's a contract on the property. The applicant has a pending contract on the property to put a automobile sales lot there, which South Old Glory Road is the appropriate status road. It's a collector status road according to the Maryville road plan. It is a 1 acre tract, so that meets our other requirement, and the structures are less than 4,000 square feet maximum. All parking is proposed to be left the same. The current use was approved by the board back a few years back, and this one would be basically nothing's going to change except for the use, and the use is permitted. The only thing that is lacking is there should be a buffer between this address and the neighboring residential use property. And that could be
Couldn't find your sign, and I couldn't find 202, but it's the house that the chiropractic sign.
Yes. Yeah.
And not the empty lot beside it.
No.
Just that parcel.
Yes. There's a 1 acre tract cut out of it right there.
Okay, anybody for this would like to speak? Come up to the mic. State your name
My name's Curtis Wright.
and would you like to tell us about anything or anything to share?
I mean, I've been in the car business for almost 20 years and just looking to go out on my own, and that would be a great location.
Any questions from the board?
Is this going to be sales only, or is it?
Yes, sir. Sales only.
Sales only.
Yes, sir.
But you don't have a garage, do you?
Well, I have to be contracted with the service garage.
So if you have a dealership or a car lot, you can contract with an off-site garage, you don't have to have one on-site?
Yes, sir.
Are both of these buildings just going to be used for offices or what?
The main business is going to be, the main building will be used for the office, and then there's a 2-car detached garage that would just be used for storage.
Objections from the neighbors? Roger,
Yes.
did you get any objections from the neighbors?
I've not gotten any phone calls on this one.
We are the neighbors to that property.
The reason I asked if the sign was, the neighbors may not know what's going on.
Well, I put the sign up. I hadn't been by there in a few days, so.
It has been since the first day.
Okay.
That's why I couldn't see.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay.
Is that all the questions for Mr. Ray? All right, thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else for or against would like to speak?
We do against the property.
Okay. Would you like to tell us why? Just state your name and your position and then your reasoning.
My name is Holly Garrett, and we do live at 150 South Old Glory, which is the property that adjoins this address. We don't believe that this property, the way that it's situated in relation to our property, is suitable for very many types of businesses. The home is actually very close, or the main building is actually very close to our property boundary, but the detached garage structure is probably only 4 or 5 feet from our property line. There's no easement, no right-of-way on our deed or hers for access to that building. So we don't wish for anyone to have access to that from our property through use of our driveway. So, currently it's a professional services building. That's not quite so bad, but, we would, I guess, ask that, the committee maybe think about the use of this property a little bit, just because the buildings are so close to our property boundary.
Thank you. Y'all have any questions for?
Yes. Explain again what you said about there's no access to the detached garage. Explain.
Our driveway, the property line actually kind of divides our driveway. The detached building, which is the 2-car garage, there's, it's only located 4 or 5 feet from the property boundary. They're on our deed, and as far as we know on Wendy Blue's deed, there is no access to that building. There's a gentleman's agreement, if you will, that we had with her for use of that. We don't really wish to extend that to the next buyer.
So is that the way you access your home?
That is our main driveway. That's our only access point.
Well, it looks like the property line comes down the middle of the road, so if you use part of their property, would you not?
We actually do not. The boundary actually kind of divides the driveway, but at the very first of the driveway where we turn onto our property, there's only about a foot or so of that's got gravel on it that's past the boundary for the property.
If the present property says do not get on my property, can you get to your house?
Yes, we can. They could not access their secondary building, but we can access our property. Absolutely.
Fence down the property line.
Yep, absolutely.
Use your driveway.
Yes.
Roger, since this is, thank you very much. Since this is a approved use, I mean, tell me if I heard you wrong, all we're here for is a buffer?
Well, any use would have to be approved as a special exception. In this case, with limitations, the limitations would be the appropriate road frontage, maximum amount of square footage that the structures could cover, and the minimum lot size, which is an acre. Along with all the other site plan requirements, which primarily in this case would be setbacks, and then, parking, which he's got parking in front, and he's conveyed to me that the parking would stay the same. So yeah, the only shortcoming that's not out there now would be the need for a buffer.
Which if you put a buffer on this lot, I mean, according to the site plan, it's going to be right down the middle of this driveway.
You don't have to put a buffer right down the property line. You just have to buffer the use from the neighbor. You can put a buffer 15, 20 feet off the property line as long as it screens the use from the abutting residential property.
The buffer's gonna be right in front of that secondary garage.
Could be.
How many cars do you have on the car lot?
In the beginning, we're planning on 12 to 15.
There's a parking lot over there?
The parking lot in front of the building will hold some of the cars, and then if you're facing the building, there's plenty of frontage down the left-hand side to park vehicles. We're not looking to go any further at some point that driveway's on both properties. But as far as access to that detached garage, I mean, if we had to, we could access it a different direction than if they didn't want us coming down their part of the driveway. That's not gonna be a part of the operating of the business that would be of any importance. It's basically just gonna be a storage building.
So how many feet off the property line is that building?
Well, that building's set back pretty far off the road.
I mean, from the sideline there in the driveway.
It actually sits a little bit kind of at an angle to the driveway line. On the front corner, it would be maybe 4 or 5 feet. The back corner, it may be 9 or 10 at best.
Do you have stakes to show your property line?
We had it surveyed, yes, and she had it surveyed as well, so there are stakes.
So there's survey stakes
Yes,
there
sir.
that you can line up and see?
Yes, sir.
Actually, at the end of the road where you pull off the road into the driveway, it's probably about maybe 4 or 5 feet, like you said. There's a pin drove into the ground there, and then there's a cedar tree right near where I have a fence rail. I keep cattle and stuff back in there. And right in the center of that cedar tree is pretty much the property boundary. So if you stand at the road and you look straight down to where the center of that cedar tree is, that's your property line. Well, what happens is that driveway is pretty much all on our property until it gets back several feet. Whenever as you're driving down the driveway, it expands. And the building that we're talking about, the current owner has people that use it for storage, and they go in and out of our driveway all the time. We really don't want that occurring. That's our main objection, is we don't want that occurring anymore. Because, there is a turnaround in front of it, and he was talking about accessing it from a different angle. If you came around behind it, I'm sure you could access it. But the thing is, like, if you go down the only other access is the driveway, because there's trees and telephone poles and stuff like that down the other way, so you couldn't really expand the driveway. We would have the same problem expanding the driveway on our side because of telephone poles and things like that. So otherwise, we just expand the driveway and build a fence and be done. It's not really feasible to do that.
Were both these lots owned by the same person at one time, or was it divided into 2 lots? How did they get a property line down the drive?
I can't speak to that subdivision, but this lot was cut out of the remainder that surrounds the opposite side and the back of this property from the owners that had, I guess still are operating the chiropractic clinic in there.
So at one time, one person owned all of it.
Yeah, that's why when they came through for the special exception, that's why the lot's 1 acre. They were meeting the requirement.
Both of them, or one of the other?
Oh, the remainder of the property that surrounds this lot is greater than 1 acre.
So their property is greater than
I'm not sure what their property is. Yeah.
yours is 3 acres.
I was talking about the opposite side and the property directly behind this one.
Lot 2?
You own the property, sir?
We have a contract to purchase the property.
Okay, so you have not purchased the property yet.
Actually, yeah, we're in the process of purchasing property, but of course, it's very important to us that we can use it as we'd like to use it. But as far as needing to use their part of the driveway,
Right.
it's not an issue to us as far as if the location would work for what we want to do. Because that, like I said, it would be nothing more than a storage building for us. There's actually two entrances from the road to the property for the office and the forestry.
Right. Are you going to live at this property?
No, sir.
So this is the sole reason you're purchasing this property?
Didn't it say in our codes, change of use if it's equal to or less?
It's actually an impact on the area. That's for an existing grandfathered use or an existing non-conforming use.
So would this not be the same as long as?
It was approved on its own merit as the chiropractic clinic after our zoning regulations. Now, if it had been there prior to our zoning regulations, it would have been a pre-existing use that stipulation would be applied to.
Any more questions? As far as the buffer goes, what sort of buffer would be practical here, Roger, to require if we were going to require a buffer?
Well, any that we allow, at least a 6-foot privacy fence or a planted evergreen hedge that could achieve a maximum of 12 feet in growth.
So, if the proposed owner of the car puts in a buffer and does not use their driveway, he's then meeting all of the requirements he needs to meet.
Yes.
The buffer will be, I'm sorry.
Was that a motion?
No, I'm still trying to understand. Parking lots can be contentious, I'm sure. The buffer would only be between these two couples. Or
Yes.
is the same thing in the back?
Well, the property in the back's, you could require it. It's not really buffering against anything behind them, though. It's
It says
vacant.
cow.
Yeah, we actually lease the property that is the other side of this.
Mhm.
And we have livestock there, so, we do have an electric fence currently in place, so just so that they're aware that, you don't
But
want to touch it or anything.
Are you saying your property is a U around this property?
No, sir, no, sir. We own the property to the right side, the 150. The property to the other side that kind of cuts around the back, joins our property at the back, behind the chiropractor's office. And we lease that and use that for farming purposes.
So the only buffer he would be required to put is between, on the side where the driveway is and the house, not the cows. Is that correct?
Yeah, you could always require it,
I mean,
but I don't know how upset it would make the cows, but
They're actually mules, that's what we have there, so you know how cantankerous they can be.
How close is your house to the property line, to the driveway?
20 feet, 25?
So you're gonna be you're edged right pretty close to the property line too.
It may be a little bit further. Yeah, he says 40, so we'll go with that.
You know, let me draw it like that. I don't have to pull you to get along, but it is a contentious area down the road.
Yes.
And if you have bought the property, yeah. Do what you want, but sometimes better stay away from contention.
I mean, this is the first I've seen these folks. I've not met them. If I'm understanding this correctly, and I see their point, they don't want what is basically mostly their driveway being used by a lot of folks coming in and out of there. And I guess what I would like to do is just that's not what we intended to do before I realized this was an issue.
Yeah, this is the first we knew about what was going on with this.
Yeah, and as far as the traffic area, if our little car lot is pulling more traffic in than the chiropractor having appointments all day long, I'll be tickled. I mean, chances are it's not gonna be that high traffic area. We're not gonna do any repair work there. I don't foresee that being neighbors would be a problem in any way. This is the first time we've their concerns. But as far as usage over there, it's not a need for us. And if we needed to put up a hedge or a fence there at the front of the property, I mean, I don't have a problem doing that if it would benefit them. But I mean, we're not, I mean, this is just gonna be a small operation. This isn't gonna be some, I just don't foresee this being a problem for them.
Yeah, and at the same time, we came into this meeting thinking that we were coming to protest a drive-through coffee shop.
Yeah, that's what the
So-
real estate agent told us they were
Yeah,
proposing.
so, you know.
Oh, okay.
You know, with the drive around the building and stuff. That man.
So now, since it's not gonna be a drive-through coffee shop, and do you, and if you don't use that driveway,
We don't have
how
any
you feel
further,
about that?
we don't have any further objection other than our driveway.
So if he puts in some sort of barrier. and
Don't
y'all
even
agree
really
on
have
what
to
that
do
is,
that. As much as there's an understanding that that's not, you know, not for other people. If, obviously, if he's our neighbor and he needs to get to his building, we're not gonna say, you can't use our driveway. What we don't want is strangers in and out of our driveway.
Which is
all
what we've had the whole
hours of
time
the
we've
day.
owned the property, basically.
Well, I will assure you that that will not be the case.
That's our main objection. And honestly, this is, like I said, this is the first we knew about what was actually taking place here. And the real estate agent told us they were putting in a coffee shop with a drive around and all this stuff. We didn't want that, you know?
So, a slight concern was that the sign hasn't been up for 30 days. And there's somebody else down there that doesn't know this is going on. Had the sign been up, you guys would have seen it, maybe somebody else would have seen it. Most of this information that you're seeing on the other side is an empty lot that you got mules on.
Yeah, the other lot, we're actually using it. It's a developer that owns it that really, frankly, is just trying to sell it. It's up for sale. But he just wants a lot of money for it, or big money, but, you know, it's just, I mean, I really don't think he cares one way or the other, to honestly. I mean, I can't obviously speak for him, but I really don't think that he would have any issue.
I'm like,
Mhm.
since they're friends and neighbors now, and everything's okay, I move to approve.
I have a question. Does that include a requirement for a buffer or not?
Our regulations do require it.
And in this case, if you put a buffer up, you probably put a buffer up down the driveway instead of down the middle of the road or somewhere. There'd be a buffer.
He would only have to buffer this front parking lot, correct?
Yeah, just the,
Where he's storing cars?
yeah, just the use. You don't have to buffer the whole property, just the use. So they're not
So he buffered the parking.
Just that front
parking
parking
and
lot.
probably the front of the building, or,
Okay, I'll second.
is that's a motion to approve with the buffer?
Okay,
I make a motion to approve it.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any object? Motion carries. Okay,
Good luck.
yeah, good luck with your lot and good luck with your mules.
Can you trade the mules for the?
Well, maybe it's if our neighbor was the cars.
There you go.
Maybe y'all also sell mules. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
All right, second,
Thank you very much, guys.
yeah,
That's actually worked out pretty well for everybody sitting here.
Well, I don't foresee a problem.
Okay.
all right,
I guess we can skedaddle.
yeah.
Thanks again, Roger.
Last month, we're on to
Yes, second, we have a variance request on 846 Peacock Ridge Road, Townsend.
We've got the right folks in the right building, or right room tonight, so.
Good.
We were in the one that knows the building.
Yeah, we're supposed to be.
Yeah, that is yeah. And we do, did you receive the legal opinion?
Yes.
I've got a legal opinion that does verify that it would not be in any conflict with the covenants of their subdivision. And I think that was the big question for the variance, setback variance, yeah.
That's a question. So what I read said that they have now confirmed to us our question.
Yes.
That's not a problem.
I assume y'all are for. Is there anyone here in objection? Any questions, guys?
I'll make a motion to accept grant the variance. Is that?
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Any object? Motion carries. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for doing your homework.
And I'll get you a letter just verifying that, and they'll be able to finish off the plat.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank y'all. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Motion to adjourn?
Before we do that, the chairman's not here. I've had and this is people trying to beat a closing date to keep from paying more interest. They're interested in a special called meeting, and I told them probably the 13th would be the only day that we could squeeze it in, looking at the scheduling for the rooms and everything in the courthouse. If you guys are good with that, I'll call Rob and see if he wants to call. I guess just a head count to see if any of you guys could make it.
What is it?
It's a variance. Basically, they're doing a subdivision, and neither of the lots will. There's two lots now, both with a house, and they were family property. Pull for the one house is on the other house's property. They're just trying to get all the pieces of the property belonging to each house. The problem is there has to be a variance because the lots will not meet our minimum lot size.
How many lots are there gonna be?
Just the two. There's already two, but one lot is going to give to the other to make it bigger, to encompass all that it needs with the pool and septic.
So they got a bank loan or something they're facing, or what?
Yeah, that's what they were telling me, that it was, trying to beat out a deadline.
But it's family.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. So without Rob here, I'm not saying we'll call it. I just get a head count from you guys while you're here.
I cannot be.
Okay.
Blue jeans and ballet. Got a ballet.
Well, can she come?
She's no, she can come. If I gotta go to the ballet,
She's got to go.
Does she know as much about this as we do?
my daughter, she's dancing at Merrill College that night.
I prefer not to, just because, again, there's nothing earth shaking about it, other than just not taking the time to do their thing.
And that's 2 no's. Larry?
I've got a 7 o'clock meeting, so I vote also.
Okay. Well, I will convey that and do my due diligence and let Rob know and see what he decides. But it looks like we'd have a hard time getting a quorum. Thank you, fellas.
I have a question.
Yes.
Sent us out, something about a training session. A tour of the land,
Yes.
but I didn't see what time it started.
They've not got that all ironed out. As soon as I get that from John, I'll forward it to you.
Are you thinking it's gonna be in the morning or at night?
Yes, that's my best intention, or not my intentions, but to my knowledge, they're going to shoot for morning. Probably.
9, 10 o'clock? or
Yeah,
8 o'clock?
probably. I would say between 9 or 10.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to go for first thing in the morning, but
And about how long will it last?
John's telling me at least it could be 2 or 3 hours.
So we would meet here and go, or meet down there?
Probably just meet down there.
You know where it is?
Mm-hmm. It's off of Big Springs.
Next to William High School.
It's down at the landfill, right?
Yeah, it's down at the landfill.
I'm-
And a lot of hors d'oeuvres will be served.
What?
I'm kidding. But John's still trying to work that out because they're doing this in conjunction with Maryville and Alcoa, and I think they're planning commissions and everything. So right now that he was trying to get a head count of anybody who would be interested, and he said he's trying to nail down the time. Oh yeah, they've got a lot of cool stuff out there now that I've not got to even see. So I think it'll be really interesting.
Racetracks, shooting ranges.
That's on the backside.
Well, there was something else we were touring. We were touring the landfill and something else.
Recycle.
I didn't know it was an
Well,
issue.
I know that they've got a little power generation plant out there now.
That might
Not
have been
mandated.
From the landfill.
Yeah,
That might have been
pretty cool.
You know, you wonder that meth and stuff, when they're doing it, is bury lines in the ground and it blows out and they run an engine off of it and it generates power. Basically, I did it.
Yeah.
KBB, it says training facilities.
There was a town in Michigan.
We're touring the landfill facility and the KBB training facilities.
I don't even know what the KDB is.
I don't know.
There's a city, Michigan. all
And the
names
solid
of
waste
trash,
authority will also.
And built this mountain.
We going to the,
And
Well,
took-
solid waste would be that.
and took the gas off of this mountain. And generated electricity, heated it up, built subdivision around it, and put ski slopes on that. And the city was flush with money.
You know, you're going north on 75, Knoxville's landfill out there, which used to be
Yeah.
the big mountain there. If you drive right there, power generation there, pretty good sized operation.
If you go to an old landfill that's been closed out, you'll see little vent pipes all over it. And that's what it's venting off, and it's just going to waste. So a lot of these places are doing this now. They get a pretty good bit of energy from
Yeah.
it. May as well use it if it's there.
Sure. It's called natural gas.
yeah.